Hi guys, as you can see we are back at the Chateau and we are excited to get back into all of our renovation projects we have going on. We had a very interesting summer of sailing around France and the Channel Islands, but as you're going to find out in this episode, things didn't quite go as expected.
If you watched last week's vlog, you remember we had an incredible time on the island of Guernsey. While we were there, our engine gave us a brief overheat warning, but when it didn't return after restarting, we figured it was just an air pocket in the cooling system. We crossed back to France without a problem, but as we set off towards our next destination in Brittany, we had no idea what was waiting for us.
And we are off New Harbour today. We had good weather, a bit of wind, not too much. Now we are only maybe half an hour away from the New Harbour. It's called Saint-Gildo. No, Saint-Cast. Saint-Cast. And apparently there's a nice beach which the kids would like. And Anna is helming and she's doing a really good job. Downwind, it's not easy, but she's doing really well.
And we've got some beautiful landscape right by us.
And look here, the cliffs. That could almost be somewhere in the UK, in Ireland, so it's really pretty here.
Just as we were entering the harbour, I noticed white smoke and a strong diesel smell coming from the exhaust, not a good sign. So I decided to have the engine checked after all. We found a mechanic and his first suspicion was the exhaust elbow, the part where seawater mixes with the exhaust before being expelled at the stern. And he was right, it was completely clogged and had to be replaced. And as anybody with a Volvo engine knows, the prices for these parts can best be described as predatory. Still, it's a component that does fail from time to time, and this time it was our turn. But unfortunately, that wasn't the end of the story.
So today is a bit of a reset day, as you will see. We are doing washing. We have to do some food shopping because we are almost out of everything. And it was a little overcast this morning, but I think we're still going to try and get to the beach because there's a great beach just over here, which we can access really easily. Give me a wave, girls. Let's hope Papa doesn't fall over. See you soon!
It took about 4 days for the parts to arrive, but we didn't really mind. We used the time to enjoy the beautiful beach, where we could finally slow down and rest. Sure, we couldn't sail out to the pretty islands nearby, but then again, people come here for weeks just to spend their holidays, so really, we couldn't complain.
Our engine part is back and it's all cleaned with a new exhaust elbow, and that is the old piece, and you can see how dirty it is. Well, it's normal after 20 years, and this was all that was left for the cooling liquid, for the cooling water, for the seawater, which cools the engine to go through. So there's not much left, and I don't even think it really goes through. So yeah, it was completely clogged up. So no wonder the engine got overheated. Yes.
So, Philip, what happened just now?
Yeah, so we started for our 5-hour sail, and it was rather 5-minute sail because as soon as we left the harbour, we got the temperature warning again, but we were close enough for me to risk to come back to the harbour on the engine, and then we switched the motor up. So we moored at this first possible quay here. The problem is most likely, and I hope so, just the cooling level, because when you change the things that we had to change, then it's normal that the cooling level goes down. And the cooling level is definitely under minimum. So that might just be the case. But we're going to do, the mechanician who helped us sorting it out is by coincidence on the harbor on another boat, so he's coming over. He will fill up the cooling level. We could do it ourselves, but I want him to be here, and then we run the engine again, and then we see what happens. But I'm happy that it happened here and not out there, an hour out there, because, well, it's much easier to be here and come back to the harbor than calling the ban, calling on the radio some help and rescue.
We topped up the coolant and went for a test ride with the mechanic. But then, there it was again, the overheat alarm. Back to the harbor we went. More than 7 liters of coolant had disappeared, leaving the reservoir completely empty, and that was utterly strange. Somewhere in the system, there had to be a leak.
So we are still at the harbor, and the reason for being still at the harbor is because there's still a problem with our cooling system, and now we think that inside the engine, inside the cooling block, the cooling liquid goes into the exhaust and it's spit out into the sea instead of circulating. So there must be a leak somewhere, but we now need to find out. So the guy's gonna make a pressure test and pressure test the cooling system, and then we will see. But I think we're not gonna go anywhere today. I love it.
Let's see what they made. That's it.
Look what they made for me.
That was not for you.
That's
that was
really
actually
cool.
for Ella.
Oh, oh, oops. Can I have one in blue?
No.
It took the mechanics a full day to carry out the pressure test, and the news wasn't good. They found a corrosion hole in the heat exchanger housing, right where it touches the exhaust elbow. At first it looked small, but as soon as they scratched the surface, the extent of the damage became clear. That hole was the reason all of our coolant had been disappearing. This was devastating news. Not only did the part cost 2,600 euros, but it would also take at least a week to order. By then, we had already been stuck in the harbor for more than a week. And while it's a lovely spot, trying to keep the kids and ourselves happy with the same beach routine every day was starting to get old. But instead of giving in to frustration, we decided to turn things around. If we couldn't sail, we could still make the most of our time here. We invited friends to join us on the boat for a couple of days, and we even managed to track down the very last rental car in town. With it, we explored the region, including Saint-Malo, an incredible fortified city that deserves a vlog of its own. We truly fell in love with this historic town by the sea, full of life, culture and character. And it's a place we'll certainly return to and show you more in the future. And because we couldn't take our friends out with the sailboat, we decided to take a 2-hour private tour on a motorboat to explore the islands in front of Saint-Malo.
I love it here. There's so many rocks, I'm happy I don't have to navigate here because you really need to know these waters. Today we got a call in the morning that the missing engine part is finally arriving. So the guy should be here any minute now and then try to fix the engine. And if he can fix the engine, and it's a big if because obviously it's a big repair, then we can leave today and head towards Granville, head towards east, which takes us slowly back home. That's the plan. Now, let's see what happens. It's sailing. Surprise, a new surprise every day. temperature seems fine for now, but we didn't try to run it a long time. But we need to re-change the cooling liquid a couple of times because it was in touch with salt water, and you want to make sure that there's no more salt water in there. And that means to change it again and again, like twice, instead of just refilling once. You refill and then you change it again. So with all the things that don't work on a boat, it's only fair to address also the things that work well. And that's mostly all the electrics and electronics. And if you ask who installed them, here I am. Thank you to Flint Solar, that's the solar panels. And I only have for now 2 of these. One here, one on this side, and one on the spray hood, and Anna stitched it, you remember, and it works perfectly. In the last months of sailing, I only had to plug into shore power once. So that means that for all this time we were off-grid, successfully off-grid, and that's amazing. And thanks to Guido from GS Power to help me install all the electrical systems. We are leaving for the second time, and I hope that's for good. And we will hopefully not hear the engine overheat alarm. It looks okay, it looked okay when we tested. And yeah,
After 2
let's
weeks.
go to Granville after 2 weeks of forced port here. Are you steering the boat?
Yes.
Are you sure, or is it the autopilot? I see you smile, and I'm not 100% sure. You look a bit cheeky. No. Anna, how does it feel to be finally sailing again?
It feels so good. Wow. Such a relief. How many hours?
We're 5 hours, depending on how much current we have. We have good wind now, like not too much, but it's good enough to go 6 knots. And if you go 6 knots, we arrive at about 9:30, 10 in the evening to the new harbour, which might or might not be the last harbour for this family journey, because then the parents come and we don't know if we can go any further. That depends on several things, which we have to find out. But yeah, that boat is made for sailing, and it feels so much better when it's on water than when it's in a marina. That's the Cap Frail in the distance. We came from there, and our 2-week harbour was here. And I see a sailboat with black sails behind us, and this looks dangerously sporty. And I think it's a race again, but looking at these sails might be a tricky one for us. So.
So right here is Île de Cézanne, and when we went on our tour the other day with Florent, we learned that this island here right behind me, which is a tiny island just outside of Saint-Malo, was one of the last places where the Germans retreated during the Second World War when the occupation was over. And apparently it was one of the most bombed, or it was the most bombed square footage or square meters during the whole of the Second World War, when they were trying to get rid of the Germans on this island. And there were so many bombs that were dropped here that you can't anchor here anymore because it's just too dangerous. And even in the last 2 years, they found unexploded bombs, which is quite crazy. We are healing so much that we have loads of stuff that's just fallen down, so we got a bit of clearing up to do. We thought we'd put it away quite well, but apparently not. It's a little difficult when you're down here.
Slightly too fast because we can't go in the harbour yet, and in an hour we would arrive. So we're gonna put a reef in. Slow it down. Let's see how that goes.
Over there, on the horizon, is Mont Saint-Michel. And right now we're trying to
Avoid the lobster pots.
yeah. There's a lot of lobster
Well, it's
pots.
fish on nets, it's not lobster pots, actually, probably. So this is a bit of a funny one, because normally in harbours everybody tries to be the first one to be there to get the best spot. But here, boats are roaming around, waiting for the water to be high enough, and there's an indicator that tells you how much water you have on top of the sill. So right now it's 1.7 meters, not enough for us, not enough for the other boats. So you need enough water, and you don't want to be the last one either. It's a new experience. That is what? Me?
Yes.
That one? That's a nose. That does not look like me.
Granville was a surprise. We had chosen it for very practical reasons. The harbour was deep enough for our boat, and Anna's parents could easily pick us up there and drive us home. No other expectations. But as soon as we started exploring, we realized what a beautiful town it is. A wide, sandy beach right in the middle of town, perfect for a swim. Narrow streets winding up to the old city on the hill, full of charm and history. And a seaside atmosphere that instantly drew us in. We spent a wonderful day there, almost as if the universe wanted to remind us that despite its setbacks, life at sea still has a way of giving you exactly what you need. Like a gentle nudge to say, everything's good and every mile traveled is worth it.
What have you got, Philip?
I always get the same beurre salé.
Caramel beurre salé.
That's caramel salted butter.
And Lily, you've got vanilla. And Ella,
I got mint chocolate.
how is it? Here, Liz. We have had a really nice little stroll around Granville. I wish we had had more time, and I really wanted to go to the museum of Christian Dior, his childhood home, but unfortunately there wasn't any tickets available, and that's, yeah, next time we're definitely going to come back. Philip has just run off to catch a train because my parents are coming. They've got the ferry over from Cherbourg. They're going to come and pick us up, but there wasn't room for him in the car. So he's going to take the train back, and a friend's going to come pick him up. We've had such a great summer, but we're really looking forward to getting back to the chateau and obviously seeing Ziggy because we've missed him so much.
Mama, can I just tell you?
And you'll go lock up,
Yeah.
and I'll tell you where we are.
Hiya, Mum.
Oh, bless you.
Mwah.
Happy to see you. I like to see you wearing your hat though.
We are back at the Chateau. I'm back in my office. It's messy like always. Funny enough, it didn't magically clean itself in my absence. Of course, not everything went as planned in this sailing holiday, and I think and I hope that Anna and the girls still enjoyed it enough to be willing to continue sailing in the future, because sailing will always be associated with a certain degree of uncertainty. And in hindsight, I think that we were really lucky to have found a mechanic that was able to source the piece that we needed and repair it. As a matter of fact, there were several mechanics operating the area. The reviews online were approximately the same, so what I did, I looked at their web pages and I picked the one, obviously, that had the most professional looking web page, which proves how important it is to have a good looking online presence. And one way to achieve this without spending a fortune on designers and programmers is to use Squarespace, an all-in-one platform to build an outstanding web presence, which also happens to be this week's ad. Squarespace uses a powerful AI to help you creating a website that matches your style and needs, but it can also help you to come up with a complete new design if you feel the need to refresh your online presence. Whether this is for a personal project, a big web shop for your e-commerce business, or an easy-to-operate page to schedule appointments for your clients. And if you want to accept payments through your page, no problem. Squarespace covers this with an integrated payment tool, so you don't have to integrate a third-party tool to accept all the major payment providers and systems. I also suggest to browse their vast catalog of templates, which you can use as a starting point. They are so well designed and are really inspiring. So if you want to be sure that people stay on your webpage when they come across it, head over to squarespace.com/howtorenovate-a-chateau for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch, use offer code howtorenovate-a-chateau to get 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain.
I'm so happy to be back. It was a long summer, a little challenging, but we feel very grateful that we still got to see some very beautiful parts of France and the Channel Islands.
Well, the problem was first it started with bad weather, which kept us in the harbour, and we decided to go to visit your parents.
Yeah, and that was
a good decision.
Silver lining.
It was a silver lining. And then when the weather turned good, well, we have a couple of good sails.
Yeah.
But when the weather really became nice and it was the good weather to go to anchorages and enjoy the outdoors, our engine broke down.
Yeah.
Do you still like sailing, or do you hate me now for having introduced a sailboat into our family?
No, I think it's still an amazing way to travel as a family. I just think that after our summer of sailing around Sweden and Denmark last year, it was an amazing experience, and it's hard to kind of top that. And I think in my head, I had this expectation that we would be doing something similar, but discovering, the Channel Islands and anchoring there in Sark and in these beautiful places. But it didn't quite work out. And we've been chatting to some other sailors this summer, and we figured out that the Channel Islands and around that area is notorious for being a very difficult area to sail. I mean, we're still quite new to this and we're still learning. And I mean, we still had an amazing family adventure.
Do you feel ready to go back into renovating, into the work here at the Chateau, or are you now tired?
So I think I'm just slowly starting to decompress, and it always takes a few days to settle back in. I am so happy to be back at the Chateau. The garden is looking beautiful. It's so nice to have so much space, and it's a beautiful place to come back to. I do still need, I think, another few days to get my energy back, but I'm excited to get going with continuing on the coach house. And I think that this summer we've also been doing a lot of thinking about our projects that we're doing here, and we've got some exciting news to share with you. I think we're going to leave that for next week though, aren't we? Yeah,
or when the time is right. It's still cooking, but
we've got some ideas.
A lot of interesting things coming up in the next weeks and months.
And we think that you will be excited about them too.